We begin? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Piasha, and I'm heading operations at Rare. And briefly about Pinwheel. So Pinwheel is Rare's tribute to the art of the journey, a forum centered on the pillars of sustainability, slow, intentional travel. It creates a vital space for our community to come together, converge, fostering a very profound engagement with places, of course, that matter and the legacies that they carry. So today, I'm very, very happy to introduce to you our newly onboarded property, which is the Mela Kothi. It's just not a stay. Mela Kothi Chambal is a beautifully restored riverside retreat that reveals a side of India few travelers actually, been to. So where ravines, the river banks, and wilderness create an atmosphere of very rare tranquility. And it's next to the Chambal River. It offers extraordinary encounters with gharials, river dolphins, got a prolific bird life, and yet very, very deeply rooted in the warmth and traditions of rural India. So very intimate, soulful, unpretentious. Mela Kothi actually transforms the Chambal from a forgotten landscape into one of India's most compelling travel experiences. So, and now I would like to introduce you all to Anu, the owner. She's a passionate conservationist and a storyteller whose deep connection with Chambal brings authenticity, purpose, and heart to every guest experience. So Anu, over to you, and you can now take it from here. So Anu basically will take us first through the presentation of Mela Kothi. She'll talk about its setting, accessibility, location, rooms, experiences, all of that, and maybe, and she's also created an itinerary where basically, it will how you can do Mela Kothi with some other lovely hotels. And she'll also talk why it's a very, very compelling addition to the Rare portfolio. I'll request all of you to keep your microphones muted, and we'll take what we normally do, we'll take the questions at the end of the session. Yeah,
Thank
Anu,
you.
so you can start from here.
Thank you, Piasha. That was quite a introduction. Thank you very much for that. And hello, everyone. I know quite a few faces. It almost feels like preaching to the converted, but I shall proceed. And just to start, Chambal is an incredible place. I mean, obviously, I'm biased, and I love what I do there, and it's my home. So there is a bit of that, of course, but it surprises people how uniquely different it is, and how close it is to Agra, and how completely off the beaten track it is. So to start, we are located 70 kilometers southeast of Agra, about an hour's drive, and it's a journey into, as the blurb says, an unspoiled and unforgettable land. Next slide, please. It's a place with some stunning rare wildlife. Those are the gharials, and there's a marsh croc there as well, for those who can spot it on the right-hand side. Next slide. Some magnificent ruins, these vibrant fairs, villages that are completely, as I said, off the beaten track, simple places that are not curated, not sanitized for tourists. They are real India. Next slide, please. But most of all, it is a land of gracious hospitality. It's our home, and this is where we welcome people. This is the property, the Mela Kothi, nestling in about 35 acres of grounds that have been rewilded by us over the last 25 years. Next slide. And that's the main house where we stay. That's my home, and I welcome all our guests to come and stay with us there. We're not going to play a short film that'll give you sort of an overview of the entire Chambal experience. And after that, I'll start running into the rooms and all the other amenities and all. So this is just to give you an overview of what a day in Chambal would feel like. Could you play the film, please? Next slide, please. So I thought I'd start by sort of helping people understand where we're located so the position becomes clearer. So that big red dot in the middle is the Mela Kothi. We are about 4.5 hours run from Delhi airport, about an hour from Agra. And it provides easy accessibility, either heading west towards Jaipur and the rest of Rajasthan, going south or central towards Gwalior, Khajuraho, Panna, etc., and also east, heading towards Kannauj, Lucknow, Varanasi, and several other smaller gems like Rampura that I'll go on to talk about um, as we go through this presentation. Next slide. So this has been in my husband's family for many generations, established in the 1860s as a site for the cattle fair. That's where the name Mela comes from. And what we inherited in 1999 was a derelict property with about 52 trees left standing. And next slide. Which we've restored slowly. It's reclaimed the woodlands, replanted. In the initial years, there was a lot of planting that we had to do. We did make some mistakes. We planted some non-indigenous varieties. But now, progressively, it's a forest that is regenerating itself, and it feels like this little oasis where you just step off grid and you're suddenly surrounded by these magnificent old trees and this new generation that's taken place. Next slide, please. We've also restored the old building, added to it extensively as well, the old stables, and the entire space has this vibe of being a family home, which it is. And all our guests are welcome to use all the spaces. We encourage them to use the library, the sitting rooms, the lounges and the verandas, and just explore and just come to terms with the space that you're in. And I think there's no better way to explore a new destination than to slow down and to just let it seep in. Next slide, please. The guest accommodation, as you can see from this slide, is scattered in the woodland, the rewilding that we've done, and then further surrounded by our farmland. And they're well spaced out, so it gives people that privacy and that sense of space. And it's a fine line that you have to draw when you're running what is, when you're on site, you're hosting guests, where you must be there to address their needs and to have conversations with them, but also give them spaces to withdraw into where it's their holiday and they can enjoy being alone if they wish to. So this allows us to do that, having them all spread out like that. Next slide, please. So there's a total of 14 rooms or cottages, 9 in the luxury category and 5 in the standard twin bed category. I'll just show you some of the rooms, how they're decorated. Next slide, please. These are the luxury suites cottages. They're all different. They're all airy, spacious, colorful. I think as I said, they're guest rooms in my house, and they reflect that. They have their own eccentricities and individuality that I feel makes them somehow better than being in a hotel room, but that's my take. And they're large enough to accommodate a rollaway extra bed, and some of them actually have an extra bed as part of the regular furniture. Next slide, please. We have also created these private sit-outs that give people, again, that sense of privacy, that sense of space, outdoor space as well, that is private, in case somebody wants to sunbathe, in case somebody wants to have a private dinner. There's all these spaces attached to every single one of the rooms. And again, large, airy, spacious bathrooms. The twin bed cottages are essentially, in terms of quality of furniture and furnishings, they have the same high spec. The only differences of size and the style. They're a lot more rustic with their sloping roofs and their wooden beams. But again, with private sit-outs and all the other amenities that we offer. In terms of amenities, we're using, I've obviously gotten rid of single-use plastic in every form, but we do use, we make a conscious effort to find suppliers such as, bamboo paper or organic toiletries and the like. So everything is consciously sought through. Glenburn loose leaf teas instead of the tea bags, fresh ground coffee instead of sachets. Just done away with everything, and it's wonderful to see the response where people are it's very encouraging rather to see the response. Next, we come to the stables. This is actually the oldest section of the structure. This dates from the late 18th century, and it's lent itself rather well to being converted into the dining space. And we have a licensed bar where it's nice to get a tipple in the evenings or in the afternoon. Next shot, please. And we do, it's a completely a farm to table concept. In the menu changes daily. It's curated based on what is available in the local farmers market. So we check with the market first thing in the morning, and based on that, the menus are designed. It's a mix of dishes, old family recipes combined with more contemporary cuisines as well. It's a lot of experimental stuff goes on. And we bake all our own breads, our own cookies. Everything is fresh. As far as possible, we try and do it all in-house. Obviously, there's certain meats and cheeses that we have to get from suppliers in Delhi. Typically, evenings will start with a bonfire, and we'll be eating indoors or outdoors, depending on the weather. And there's nothing like a fire to get people coming round, having a chat, breaking the ice, and then people can choose to dine together or separately. We're always conscious of what a guest wants. It's never, there's no rules that are strictly enforced in terms of how people want to be. Next slide, please. Now we come to the excursions. Why Chambal? So you could go anywhere. Why would you come? I mean, obviously my home, so it's lovely, but so there's a number of different excursions ranging from wildlife to culture, which make us an ideal base from where you can explore this sort of unexplored wild terrain. I'm going to run you through some of the main ones. The main wildlife one is, next slide, is to the National Chambal Sanctuary, the River Safari. This is a 400-kilometer stretch of the River Chambal that was declared a sanctuary in 1979 to protect the gharial. We moved back in 99, and we were fortunate in that we had a receptive forest department that allowed us to work with them on the management plan and the carrying capacity study. So there are 4 or 5 locations on Chambal, the 180-kilometer stretch that is in Uttar Pradesh, where tourism can take place, each one about 40 to 50 kilometers apart, and no location can have more than 3 boats. So it helps. 1, it ensures the quality of the experience for the guests, and 2, it ensures that the wildlife isn't disturbed and the conservation efforts can continue apace. We have our own boats parked here. Guests are always pleasantly surprised when they land up here and they find that they're pretty much the only boat. It isn't like a crowded jetty where there's 100 people jostling for space. Next slide. And it was the sanctuary was set up to protect the gharial, which is this long snout-nosed crocodilian, a very rare, critically endangered endemic. It gets its name from this bulbous outcrop on similar to a ghada, the pot. And it's called a ghavial in English, but that's apparently because of a typo. The R was read as a V, and it became a ghavial. but only the male has that, the females don't. Next slide. But the sanctuary has, this particular project has been a great success because not only do we have thriving populations of the gharials, we also have good numbers of the marsh crocodiles, the river dolphins, 8 species of turtles, and about 330 species of birds. The gharials, the marsh crocs, and the turtles are as close to a guarantee as you can get in wildlife. The river dolphins maybe about 70% of the time, but we have we take part in the census, and the numbers have been going up. So that, and it's an indicator species, so it's good to know that the Chambal is thriving. Next slide. This is some of the shots of the kind of bird life. The one in smack bang in the middle is the skimmer, the Indian skimmer, which is one of the iconic ones for which Chambal has now become very famous. But there's several others, and we get all the migratory birds coming out to us from about mid-October onwards. And so mid-October till about late February is the migratory species. And post that, in March and April is very good for photography because you start getting the nesting sites such as the skimmer, the river terns, the black-bellied terns, etc. So you actually get to see the hatchlings. Next slide, please. Some of the small mammals that you'll see, again, this is from the boat, the golden jackal, the leopard sightings have been going up. We're still not really talking about it. But a few guests had posted them on social media, so we felt we needed to include it. They've always been there, but they're just becoming easier to sight, I think, primarily because numbers are going up, and also because a lot of the precipice is disappearing from the ravines, which allows these soft-padded cats to make a reappearance. This year, April was literally every safari, leopard and cubs was just, something that we spotted. The striped hyena and all the others there. Now we come to the main cultural excursion. So we're sandwiched between 2 rivers. We've got the river Chambal to the south of us, and that's 22 kilometers from us, by the way, and takes about 40 minutes to get to by the route that we take. And an interesting aside, which I should have mentioned earlier, Chambal is deemed an unholy river. It's believed to have originated from the blood of cows or the drying of hides, cow hides on its bank. And therefore, there's no major towns or major temples along its banks other than Kota in Rajasthan. And that's essentially one of the reasons why it's thrived and survived, and it has such a rich biodiversity. It remains one of India's last wild rivers because no one wants to have anything to do with it. On the other side, we have the river Yamuna, which is about 15 minutes from us, north of us, and a holy river, the site of a rather quaint little spot, like a cross between Varanasi and Pushkar. These tiny little temples dotted along a crescent bend of the river, all dedicated to Shiva. Currently undergoing major renovation. Fortunately, all with traditional materials. The ghats have been redone. There's a lot of the shrines are being repaired. And there's some other structures coming up which sort of help with the pilgrim management and basically infrastructure for visitors, which are behind the temple. So they don't really impact this view. Next slide, please. So Briteshwar, very inclusive branch of Hinduism. So they're quite happy to have non-Hindus inside the sanctum. So this gives people a great experience if they choose to participate in joining the Aarti in the main temple at night, in the evening. We have a small property at the edge of the river, on the rooftop of which you get those bird's eye views that in the previous slide. And we organize yoga on the rooftop of that kunj, and this is on special request because we're not comfortable with the yoga providers that are available locally, so we get yoga instructors. So we get someone from Agra who's a certified yoga instructor. But it's been a great hit because people sort of love the idea of going there early in the morning, getting a spot of yoga with that sort of timeless vista in front of them. And then we organize breakfast on the rooftop there. It's also a holy site for the Jains, and there are some Jain temples further up, which we, if guests are interested, we'll take them for. They're about 2 kilometers further up from this site. Next slide, please. Bateshwar is the site of an animal fair, which is bigger than Pushkar's. So our fair starts just before Diwali. It starts with cattle, goes on to horses, camels, and finally donkeys. The horse numbers peak on the day of Diwali, and after that we have the camels. So it's sort of, we normally refer to the animal fair as about 3 to 4 days before Diwali and a couple of days after Diwali, and the dates change every year, of course. And then we have a lull for a few days, after which all the shops and the religious akharas, it's the most auspicious time to take a dip in the Chambal, in the Yamuna, sorry. And so that's when all the sadhu akharas move in, the fairground rides, shops selling everything imaginable, from household goods to cosmetics to toys to and eateries, and just everything. And it's a very authentic rural fair. That aspect of the fair, which is the religious fair, coincides with Pushkar. That's when all the animals that have remained unsold here move on to Pushkar, and you see them there. And we have the religious fair at our site. We didn't initially promote this much because we thought that it's a sea of humanity. There's close to 150,000 people every day for about a week taking a dip in the river. So it seemed like a bit much. We thought, it would be overwhelming. But guest feedback has been really good. Primarily, I think, because you can withdraw to the rooftop of the Kunj again. And in the right-hand side corner, you can see that, there's the bathing ghats are packed with people, but you're a step removed from it. You're in the thick of the action, but you're a step removed from it. And also, another feedback that we always get is that no one tried to sell us anything. No one was interested in us. People were just getting on with things, and we could walk around and we could experience, and it just felt like we were part of something very real, and that hadn't been designed for us or sanitized for us. So that's, and again, the dates change obviously every year, and we have the dates for the next 3 years on our website. Next, there is the Holipura Heritage Walk. This is a remarkable little spot close to Bateshwar, and sometimes we combine, when the fair is not on, we will either combine Holipura with Bateshwar, or we will do it separately, depending again on guest interest. These are Havelis dating from the 15th century onwards, with influences ranging from Mughal to colonial. Very impromptu. It's quite spontaneous. You'll just sort of be wandering about. You'll be interacting with local villagers. And we are very mindful of not being voyeuristic in this, because I personally do not agree with the idea of just barging into people's homes and seeing how they live, or looking into their kitchens. I wouldn't appreciate it if someone did that to me. So I see no reason why this should be acceptable just because someone appears to have less than you. But what happens here is even better than that, because this is where tourism becomes like a two-way stream, where you'll have the children following guests around, and then the women will sort of step out, and they're very shyly engage with the guest and invite them in, and they'll be so proud showing people their little hearth and their kitchen, and it's the generosity of the poor that is so overwhelming, that's so humbling, that you'll find here. And somehow people find ways to communicate, which is, again, as I say, is what makes this really special as a walk. Next slide. We also conduct safaris for blackbuck and for sarus crane. Blackbuck can be found in the fields at the margins of the National Chambal Sanctuary. Usually you can get a decent sized herd, but it is tough it's getting harder and harder to find larger numbers. But on average, you'll find between half a dozen to a dozen of them. So we will recommend based on guest interest. We won't always recommend this one. But the other thing that people enjoy with the blackbuck safari is the fact that it's through the rural hinterland. You're seeing aspects of India or villages that you wouldn't normally see. The Sarus crane, on the other hand, very productive. Close to 80 species, other species get ticked off. These are the breeding grounds of the Sarus. So they're large flocks and intense in that it involves a bit of walking, a fair bit of driving, but very, very rewarding. And again, does very well for those with an interest in birding or photography. Next slide. The bicycle highway, little known fact that it's a track that was commissioned in 2017, starts from behind the Taj Mahal, loops around us, several other historic sites around Agra, goes to Bateshwar, to Holipura, down to the river, to us, and then on to Itawa to the Lion Safari. We have bicycles on the property. Guests are welcome to use them. There's no charge for that. It's a complementary activity. If they want to do it on their own, or if they want to take a naturalist with them, they're welcome to do that. And also sometimes to those who are keen on just, they like the idea of cycling, then we will organize a trip to Bateshwar. They will go cycling to Bateshwar and then we'll bring them back by Jeep, so that it's just a one-way ride. It's about 15 kilometers through some rather nice countryside. The next one is Fort Atair. This is across the Chambal River. Rambling old place, one of the first properties that was taken over by Carlisle and Cunningham for the Archaeological Survey in the late 1890s. And it's been restored about 20 years ago. So sections have been worked on. But it's very Indiana Jones, because there's not a soul in sight, and you cross the river by boat, and then it's about 2.5 kilometers, 3 kilometers, where you walk up through the ravines, or you can take a jeep up, and then you just come to this amazing old fort that it's very eclectic, Rajput, Mughal, and everything else in between. So again, for those that enjoy this sort of thing. Rapri is about another 20 minutes from us. It's Sufi tombs and an Eidgah dating from the 14th century. And at the risk of repeating myself, not a soul in sight. It's in nondescript, flat countryside. And I've occasionally gone on a Thursday and found someone sweeping the tombs and then singing in the most haunting, soulful voice that just gives you goosebumps, and just a quiet spot to explore and to understand how India functions. And it's what I love is also the idea that in a small triangle you have Shauripur, the Jain Tirth of the 22nd Tirthankar. You have Bateshwar, a major Shaivite site, and then you have Sufi tombs and an Eidgah. So it's like the three major religions all within a simple little triangle. And sometimes that's how we combine these for, if a guest expresses interest. There's a booklet that we give guests on arrival and where all the excursions are mentioned. And if they express an interest, then it's nice to sort of combine the three, and they get to compare and contrast and understand. Next slide, please. I come to the final two now. So this is Barre. This is to the confluence of the Chambal and the Yamuna rivers. This is about 90 kilometers from us. Takes about 2 hours to get here. It's a stunning drive through undulating countryside, the ravines of Chambal and Yamuna rising on either side. There's an old Shiva temple that dominates the confluence, the first temple that you'll see on the Chambal, and also the ruins of this spectacular old fort that found itself on the wrong side during the Great Uprising of 1857 and was blasted by British cannon shot steamboats that came up the river. Some of the family members still live there, so occasionally we're able to organize a visit with them. It is also the site of the Great Hedge, which history buffs find fascinating. It's a hedge that the British, or rather the East India Company, came up with to prevent the smuggling of salt from native territories to British territory and vice versa. Incredible enterprise. I mean, it's mind-boggling that they even thought of it. 1,500 kilometers or miles, with trees and thorny bushes, and a whole department that handled it, maintained it, and there was what is it called, chalkies and inspectors appointed every few kilometers. And it's all, the last remnants were found in our area. Roy Moxham's book of the same. And finally, just one little thing, the top slide where you see this tiny rivulet and then you see a big river. The big one is Chambal and the tiny little one is like literally a stream. That's the Yamuna. So it's much depleted, almost gone by this point. And the waters that you see at Sangam in Prayagraj for the Kumbh is actually the unholy Chambal that replenishes it. So that's a little aside I love talking about. Next slide. Etawah, center of the Great Uprising. A.O. Hume's colonial legacy is writ large, and again, a dusted off little outpost that works well with history buffs, and we occasionally get guests who have a particular interest, and therefore we're able to offer it. It's about 45 minutes from us, so an easy drive and an interesting spot. Next slide. Finally, I come to the two complementary activities that we offer. That is the nature walks. We have 4 resident naturalists who are attached to guests. We have a naturalist attached to each guest as they check in. And this is an activity that we encourage all our guests to undertake because this is the kind of wildlife and bird life that we have on the grounds, about 198 species. We provide detailed checklists, printed checklists that all our guests get. And it's good fun. I mean, even if you're not interested in wildlife and all, it's a great way to explore the grounds, to see how people live, rural countryside, and a great exercise ticking off. Next slide. And when guests we feel that they're not particularly interested in the wildlife, so we'll combine it with the village walk. So we'll do a little amble around, show them some of the main trees and birds, etc. And then we just go into the village, which is Jarar, about 700 meters from us, where again it's just very spontaneous. Again, it's not curated, it's not sanitized. It's just you walk around, you'll see all sorts of things. It's your luck. You might see the vegetable market, you might see the potteretter's wheel. The only thing we are very particular about is no handouts, because we employ local, we buy local. It's all going back into the local community. And I think you take away from people's dignity when you think that you can just give them money just for being there. So it's important for that, and it destroys the social fabric in my mind. So it's that's the only thing that we do brief guests about. Otherwise, it's just fun. There's a lot of local engagement, and people do come back quite charmed by the little village. Next slide. Finally, a little bit about our sustainability criteria. Some of you may be aware, we've been working on the Indian School of Nature, where we've created this open source, these data sheets that people have access to, lodges like us, tour companies, even guests. So you can actually calculate the carbon footprint by punching in the numbers into these data sheets of what the carbon footprint of every trip is, right down from designing the tour. So even the tour companies have signed on, a lot of the DMCs in Delhi, where they calculate the carbon footprint of their offices, and that's fed into the tour to each of the properties, etc. So I won't talk about going to this in detail because this is not the place for it. But that was us in '99. That's us in 2020, and one of the things that this helps us do is help people understand that this is how you take the guilt out of travel. Properties like ours can afford to do the work that we do because we get guests coming and staying with us. Otherwise, there's so much pressure on these lands that it's so easy to turn them back into farmland or back into, or just develop them. So if a Ramatra or a Dera Amer can set aside that kind of land, and if you pick properties like these on an itinerary, you can actually offset even the flight, because there's just so much carbon sinking that's going on in some of these properties. So this is just a conversation starter and helps people to think about it. It's not something we ram down their throats, but it's something that helps people think about how they're traveling and become more mindful of it. The only sustainability criteria I will mention in detail is our economic contribution to the community, 67%. These are audited figures. And the reason we started ISN and these data sheets was to stand out from the greenwashing. There was post-COVID, it was just insane, the number of people who were bandying responsible and sustainable about. So it was important to have figures speak up and lay bare what people were actually doing rather than just random statements. So this is an audited figure we have that 67% of our proceeds go back into the local community, and it helps us understand where we can improve further. Next slide, please. A little bit about all the awards we won, so I can sort of polish my halo tonight. Next slide. And finally, where we are and how the excursions are connected. That's us in the middle, Mela Kothi. To the south is the National Chambal Sanctuary, where you have the wildlife experience, our boats parked for the river safari. Across the river to Fort Atair, where you have that old fortress that you walk to or take a jeep to. On the other side, north of us, is the river Yamuna. That's about 15 minutes. That's where we have the Bateshwar temples. We have the Holipura Heritage Village, and we have the Sufi tombs at Rapri. The Blackbuck Jeep Safari heads west from us, and the Saras Crane heads east from us towards the Itawa wetlands. Now, in terms of itineraries, we connect very well with simple as a bolt-on, which I don't like, but it works for first-timers when they're doing a simple golden triangle, Delhi, Jaipur, Agra. At the end of it, you come to the Mela Kothi, we're 1.5 hours from Agra or an hour from the Taj. And it's a completely different experience where you add on a whole lot in terms of the experiences without having to travel too far. And from us, you can go straight to the airport. It's about 4.5 hours drive. You could also, of course, could we go back to that slide, please? Thank you. So we could, obviously, we're well connected towards Rajasthan side, where, you could go to Ranthambore, Jaipur, and then on into the rest of Rajasthan. Going down towards central India, there's some great new properties such as Rampura, which is in the Jalan area, from where you can then go down towards Sarayat Toria, Panna, Khajuraho, and all the central Indian parks. On the other side, if you're heading east from us, there's Kannauj, which is just a remarkable perfumery experience, and there's some stay options also coming up there. So it's just 2 hours, and there are people here who will vouch for it. I will not name them. And then from there, you can go towards Lucknow, which is just another 1.5 hours. Again, remarkable experiences, completely still unexplored, despite all these years that we've been trying to promote it. And there are other people like Pratik Hira and all who've been promoting it and doing very good work there. But from Lucknow, you can then go on to Dudhwa, in the Tarai, the Tiger Park, or you can carry on towards Allahabad and Varanasi, and then on to Calcutta, or fly back to Delhi, or from Varanasi, you can go to Khajuraho. So it connects well in all these spaces. You can connect it to wildlife experiences. You can connect it to purely cultural experiences. It can be a bolt-on to a golden triangle. It can be one of those places where you slow down on a long itinerary. And that is where we find we have the maximum growth, where people are doing busy touristy centers, and then places like ours, like Shapura Bagh, us, and Ramatra, we have several guests in common through the season with Shapura, with Ramatra, and now hopefully with Rampura as well. Because these are little off the beaten track places that you step back into, where you can unwind, where you can decompress and come to terms with the busyness that you've just been dealing with, and then go on to the next one, on to the next assault, as they say. So that pretty much sums it up. I think I've managed that in the 45 minutes that was allotted to me. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to address them.
Anu, do we stop the presentation? Okay,
Yes, please do.
All right,
Yes.
all right. Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
done.
Any questions from anyone? We can take that up now.
Okay. Not a question, but just to say, nice to see you, Anu.
Likewise, likewise. It's lovely to see the two of you.
But
been
yeah,
too
we
long.
speak to you often. Thank you for telling us about Canauge.
Mhm.
We're working with our friend there, our
Oh,
mutual
good.
friend there, including staying with him for tours. You first, then up to Canauge, and then off to Lucknow. So
Excellent.
we got, I think, 3 or 4 tours now. That includes the 3 of you. So
Thank you.
fingers crossed. It's just for us over here at the moment, it's dead. You know, to be blunt, you know, we're not getting very many inquiries at all, very few bookings. So it's sad.
But
I know.
But yeah, Peter, that's always the case when the weather's good in England. You've got a heat wave.
Yeah, that
Nobody
happens
wants to
often.
travel. But you wait
Yeah.
for it to turn miserable.
Well, we're giving that presentation to one of our local business networks
Uh-huh.
next week.
Next
Yeah,
week,
next week, next Thursday.
Okay.
And you're in it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, you've
Um,
always been very supportive. Thank you. It's
No, we do our best. We feel it's not enough, but we do our best.
no, thank you.
But say we hope we get a few bookings through from that one way or another.
Okay,
So
good.
keep fingers crossed. We'll let you know.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Anu,
Thank
one
you.
of the things, sorry,
Got no-
one of the things that we are doing at the moment is fundraising challenges.
Mhm.
Thinking about the cycle route that goes from the Taj there. Have a think, if you wouldn't mind, about something that we could offer to charities here as a prospective charity fundraiser.
It's like a challenge that their supporters do and raise money for nature.
Yeah, we could easily do that. In fact, there was a young lady that was running. She went past us, and I found out about her much later after she'd done and so it's like a charity run. And there's some cycling that I know of. So yeah, we can actually, we could definitely look into that, and we can plan something.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about running, but that's could be included as well. It could be
Yeah.
like I don't know what, mini marathon or something, but yeah.
Something along those lines, yeah, like you know, or an endurance run. So you could start in Delhi, and we could plan a tour where, or we could do it sort of through the countryside, like between Ramatra and us, or even us and Rampura. Next time you guys are here, I have to take you down to Rampura. You will love you would just love it. It's just, and I think I've told you about it several times.
Yeah.
It's just this it's this outpost, and the couple there are just so charming, so unaffected, and it's just the kind of thing that would be up your alley. So yeah, we could definitely design an itinerary that allows us to, say, connect Ramatra. You could use the sort of country roads to get them cycling, coming out to us, to the Taj, to us, going on down to maybe even Kannauj, or you know, it could be a nice little challenge that could be done over a week or so. So
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we can work on that.
Good.
Okay, we'll have a Zoom. We'll arrange a Zoom between us and chat it through.
All right. I'll sort that out.
Good.
I think everybody else has given up
fine.
on. I think
Yeah.
I managed to
Given up.
bore everyone to sleep.
No, not at all. No.
But you know, we can monopolize the conversation, no problem. It's nice to see you. Nice to see everyone.
Likewise, and I'll probably be in London in the summer, so I'll give you a buzz, and if maybe I'll.
Oh yeah, please do. Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to be at Philippa's thing?
No, we didn't get an invite.
We shall have to have words.
Yeah.
Mind you, I see you have to cross the river now to get out of the property, your riverside property.
No, that was a bit. I think Piasha overstepped that one. No, definitely not on the riverside. That's why I made a point of mentioning that we are 22 kilometers by the route we take from the river. And it's important to say that. So.
Yeah, if you're riverside property, there's an awful lot of flooding going on.
Yes, there would be. I'd spend the entire monsoon picking up furniture and putting it on my head.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, a few boats moored alongside.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. That's what would happen.
Yeah.
So.
Oh dear. Good.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, I think I best just check if there's any other questions.
Yeah, not that we have any more.
Oh, good.
From Rare team, anyone wants to ask anything? We've had a training though. Yeah.
We're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's
I
much.
think, yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Anu. That was lovely. And we'll also post the recording for everyone else who's missed out today.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Take
Thanks,
care. And
Anu.
thank you everyone
Thank
for your
you.
time. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
Anu.
it. Bye.
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 Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.